Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. If you like The Mike Wagner Show and you want to make your own podcast, well, let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. This edition of The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Dustin Ferguson in 3, 2, and 1. Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is a key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. Who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry at the same time? Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show on over 30 podcast platforms, including themikewagnershow.com. Also on Facebook, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Music, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And check out the merchandise at themikewagnershow.com. And Amazon.com at the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, including great books by me and Molson Zia, go to Amazon.com and check out the Me and Molson Zia store today. And don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, as well as PayPal and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you give generously today. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's known as Dark Infinity, born in Dodge City, Kansas. Now, he lived in Lincoln, Nebraska, now in Murrieta, California. He owned and produced several film distribution and production companies since '07. He also directed, produced, and edited such films like Arachnado, Nemesis 5, Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor, Amityville Toy Box, and Angry Asian Murder Hornets, which I was trying to fight off before getting on with this amazing gentleman. He also directed nearly 100 music videos for Lords of Acid, Exhumed, and also as well with My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult and KMFDN. And we also will be talking about his new movie, Hell of the Screaming and Dead. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful California, the amazing, multi-talented director known as Dark Infinity, Dustin Ferguson. Dustin, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's an honor.
Well, it's great to have you on as well, too. And, looking at this, you're known as Dark Infinity. You're born in Dodge City, Kansas. You moved to Lincoln, Nebraska. Now you're in Murrieta, California. You own and produce several film distribution and production companies since '07. You also directed, produced, and edited such films like Angry Asian Murder Hornet, and I'm still trying to fight those bastards off, Arachnado, Nemesis 5, Sleepaway Camp 4, and more as well, too. You directed nearly 100 music videos, and you got a new one out called Hell of the Screaming and Dead. And before we get into all that, including your new movie, Dustin, tell us how you first got started.
Well, I started out basically as an editor. I was a fan of horror movies growing up, and I used to do a little bit of fan editing online, which is when you kind of do your own version of a movie by recutting it. It's pretty popular with Star Wars movies, and I was doing it with horror films, and I got discovered that way. And so I was hired to edit Sleepaway Camp for The Survivor in 2007. And that was my first gig that kind of broke me into the industry. And I started directing after that, a couple short films, did my first feature in 2009. And here I am 115 movies later.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. That was amazing. 115. I think I've lost count afterwards. And what are some of your favorite movies that was actors, actresses, and also directors growing up?
I'm old school. I grew up in the 70s, 80s kind of stuff. I was a kid of the 80s, so I'm really into John Carpenter, George Romero, Dario Argento, some of the classic horror directors. I was really into the horror and exploitation genre because it was so different from everything else, and it evoked certain kinds of emotions. I thought that were more, real and interesting. And so I always sort of had an appeal just to the dark side of things, just to the mystique of it all. And I think that I was sort of always just meant to go down this path.
And what attracted you to the horror genre?
I think that the excitement of it, just being scared in a safe environment, it's like riding a roller coaster, like the thrill of it, something's about to happen, but you're still going to be okay. And I think that's just addictive, and a lot of fun.
That sounds rather interesting. I have to get back on a roller coaster and experience myself. And what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career?
Gosh. Well, I know back in 5th grade, I wrote my first script. It was a 2-page script for Child's Play 4, and I gave it to my teacher, and he showed my mom at parent-teacher conferences. And I think from that point forward, I was sort of always like, I knew that I wanted to make movies. I used to tell my friends I was going to grow up and make scary movies, and I ended up doing it. I actually went to college to own a video store. I got my degree in business management, entrepreneurship, but it was in the early 2000s when all the video stores were closing. And so I ended up actually just working management jobs at pizza places and stuff, and then actually started doing short films with my friends. And then actually, that grew into full-fledged films. But then eventually in 2017, I actually did open a video store because at that point it was nostalgic, kind of like record stores. Mm-hmm. And so I had it for about 11 months. And one of my regular customers actually bought the store and all the inventory from me so I could move out to California to do the films full time.
That's rather interesting as well, too, that you did all that in Murrieta, California. And tell us about your journey going from Dodge City, Kansas to Lincoln, Nebraska to where you're currently at today.
Well, I was I was born in Dodge City. I moved to Lincoln when I was pretty young. I want to say I was 3 or 4 years old, and I spent most of my life there. I ended up going away to college in Norfolk and then came back to Lincoln. And yeah, I ended up doing about 50 movies there, and it was Nemesis 5. It was my 50th film. I was standing on set one day and just sort of had an epiphany and realized that this was what I wanted to do the rest of my life. It was obvious that I had to move forward whichever way that meant, and that meant going to California to pursue it as a career. And so it was sort of that moment in 2017 when I realized that I had to come here and I had to do this, and I couldn't take failure as an option. And so I gave up everything I could fit in my car. I packed up and I came out here and started a new life about 4 years ago.
And that's certainly amazing as well, too. We'll talk about some of the films you've done, the videos, and some of the production companies. And later on, we'll talk about your latest work and more. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Book, so remembering is a key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at a wedding, and even more so at yours. Who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift for remembrance makes you laugh and cry at the same time? Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and over 30 podcast platforms. Make sure you check out the Mike Wagner store at themikewagnershow.com and on Amazon.com at the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, including great books by Mia Molson-Zia, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check out the Mia Molson-Zia store. And don't forget to support us on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you donate generously today. We're here with the terrific and amazing Dark Infinity, best known as Dustin Ferguson here on the Mike Wagner Show. And how'd you get the name Dark Infinity, first of all?
I think every director that does the number of titles I do decides to start using aliases, just to spice things up. And so about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I came up with Dark Infinity sort of as a combination of the dark side of things, like I'm always doing with the films, the exploitation and the horror mixed with the infinity, because I never stop. It's sort of an addiction for me, and I'm going to go probably till the day I die. So I figured Dark Infinity was appropriate.
And I can imagine you to infinity and beyond.
Exactly.
I think we all know that very well. You also own, produced several film distribution and production companies, and you also directed some movies as well, like Arachnado, Nemesis 5, Superweight Camp 4, and tell us about some of the production companies you owned, and also talk about some of the films as well, too, and what inspired you to write them and also produce and direct.
Well, I kind of started from humble beginnings. Originally, I was selling my movies out of the trunk of my car. And so I did that for the first couple of movies at local screenings I was having in town. And eventually I decided that maybe I should start a website to sell my movies on. And so I came up with RHR Home Video, which was my first company. And I sort of did that whole thing in Nebraska. It was just the name of the company I called for when I was selling my own movies. And then when I started getting actual distribution with other labels, I changed into 42nd Street Films, sort of an homage to the Grindhouse days on 42nd Street, movies just churning out. And so I was 42nd Street Films for a really long time until I came out here to California and became SCS Entertainment for SoCal, Southern California studios. And so those were basically those were the labels. And they were always just sort of a means of me just for my productions and my distribution and stuff like that. Even though now I go through a lot of other companies. So it's just really a production head company. As far as the movies, like I said, I did my first feature film in 2009. That was a movie called Terror at Black Tree Forest. It ended up spawning 2 sequels. So it became a trilogy. And like I said, I've done 115 films since. Arachnado and Abolarex and Murder Hornets. Those were part of my pandemic series I actually did last year during the pandemic. I did 16 films in 2020. It was a year, I think, that along with everybody thought that they weren't going to get much accomplished. And I ended up sort of reinventing what I was doing beginning of that year, and started doing these movies with sort of high concepts with low budgets, like, giant CGI monster movies with smaller casts and crews. And so I did a whole slew of those last year. My career really just took off after that.
That is amazing. And what do you base your movies on? Besides a horror genre, like, what are some of the themes that you convey, and what are some of the other themes you convey in your movies?
Well, I always, horror's my number one, just because I grew up such a big fan. I really love the more atmospheric and moody type of horror films. Like, I like slashers too, but I really like stuff that makes you think, psychological type things. And I'm really into exploitation and grindhouse style stuff. We're currently doing an erotic thriller TV series. I've done comedies. I'm sort of all over the place. I think that the reason I do this is because I love it. And so I grew up such a fan that I want to keep a certain era alive. So my approach is very old school. Like, I try and make things that have sort of like a camp value to them, so they last the test of time, so that in 20 years, it'll almost be better than it is now. And so I sort of take that approach to that, and I kind of build the same group of people that work on these films with me, sort of the way that John Carpenter or even John Waters does, where he gets like a lot of the same actors in all of his films, because then you get like a dependable group of people that you can rely on, especially when I'm doing so many. So I've really kind of grown this family of people that make these films now. We do about one a month.
One a month. That is so amazing. I can't picture myself doing one a month, and maybe like one a year, one every 2 years. And I guess everybody's different too. You also directed 100 music videos for Lords of Acid, Exhume, My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult, and also a viral video for KMFDM. And tell us about those.
Yeah, it was, the music videos started out kind of interesting. I think the first official video I did was for a group called Velvet Acid Christ. And what had happened was I was approaching these bands to use their music. These were like bands I grew up in high school with, like these are like from the 90s. And so I really wanted to include their music in my films. And so I started approaching them to do like a trade where I would direct a music video for them in exchange for using their music in my film. And so that's actually what ended up happening with almost all of those bands, where they gave me permission to use their music, and in exchange I did a video. And so I did one for Lords of Acid that was very controversial and got banned on all the platforms, which was good for me. It was good publicity. Same thing.
Love it. Everybody listen to Lords of Acid.
Yeah. And of course, like you mentioned, the KMFDM one, we did a really risque sort of like lesbian thriller with some violence. And so, it was too racy for MTV. And I grew up, in the 90s when censorship was running rampant in music. And so it's always really appealed to me, things that were like too hot for TV, or, too controversial or banned. And so I always took that approach with the music videos, like something that would really push the envelope and make people remember. And so I think almost all those bands that you mentioned, I did a lot of really crazy videos for, and it was a lot of fun.
It sounded like a lot of fun too. And I remember the days of censorship running rampant. And I remember saying something too, that some artists use censorship on purpose to actually bring more curiosity, and actually boosted more sales than anything else, if I'm right.
Exactly. I mean, that stuff sells, regardless of how people pretend they react to it. People check it out. You know what I mean? It gets people's attention.
Mm-hmm. And I think it does too. And of course, I hear all kinds of stories what KMFDM stands for, and your interpretation. What does KMFDM stand for from your perspective?
Well, I believe it's actually a German phrase, like Keir Farfurdesh Meer. I'm not exactly sure what it means, but there's rumors it says kill mother effing Depeche Mode.
I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that.
They're actually Depeche Mode fans. They've actually covered some of their music. They did like a cover album. So that part's not true, but I'm not exactly sure what the German translation means.
Well, I'm sure we'll figure that out later as well, too. And before we talk about your latest Hell of the Screaming and Dead, where can we find all your films at, and also videos and everything else, Dustin?
Well, I do have quite a few things on both Tubi and Amazon. I recently had a movie come out to Walmart called Apex Predators. It's a shark movie. Honestly, you can Google search me and I come up on almost all the platforms now. I've done about 100 films, and I'd say about 75% of that is out there.
And that's amazing as well, too. We'll talk about the latest Hell of the Screaming Undead with Dustin Ferguson in just a minute. You're listening to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by official sponsor, The Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Mia Molson-Zia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Also brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remember, he's a key ingredient. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. We'll be back with Dustin Ferguson and Hell of the Screaming Undead after this time out. This edition of the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe-Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionsea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with director and producer Dustin Ferguson, known as Dark Infinity, here on The Mike Wagner Show. And let's talk about your latest movie that you want to talk about, Hell of the Screaming Undead. And tell us more about that. What inspired you to write the movie?
Well, so this has got kind of an interesting story behind it. Normally, when I'm doing movies, from start to finish, I would say it's like a 2 to 3 month process, from concept to where I turn the movie in. This film took us almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, this was originally conceptualized pre-pandemic. It was about a pandemic, about an outbreak causing, a zombie infection. And we were set to go start filming. And a week before we were supposed to start filming, California went into lockdown. Mm-hmm. And so we had to postpone the shoot. And that was sort of when I, decided I was going to do these pandemic movies, the monster movies. And so it got put on hold. And then throughout the course of it, just so much has changed, with the industry and the actors that were involved in this and that. And so we had to almost redo the whole thing until we could finally do it. And we finally got the film shot about a month ago. The plot stayed the same, but the locations and some of the actors changed. And I think it was for the better because we ended up with a much stronger film. And it's about an outbreak that happens where at the beginning of the film, they're doing some sketchy experiments in an underground lab. And then, the virus breaks out. There's a zombie outbreak, and a group of people that are partying overnight in a museum have to hold up there. It's sort of Dawn of the Dead, like where they're trapped in a mall, but it's a museum. Mm-hmm. And so as the zombies are taking over LA, it's sort of like a fight of personalities happening inside the building. So it's a very dramatic film. It's sort of my zombie opus, and it's actually going to be out in a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm certainly looking forward to it. And besides, with the pandemic influence, the hell of the Screaming and Dead. And how else the pandemic benefited from you from with other projects and everything else besides your last movie?
Well, it sort of had an opposite effect on me. Like, just like everybody, when it first happened, I sort of panicked because at the beginning of every year, I always sort of announce what my slate of films is for the year for my company. So we had announced 6 films, I think it was, that I was planning, and Hell of the Screaming and Dead was one of them that I was planning to move forward with. And then lockdown happened and everybody was sort of scrambling, like, how am I going to get work? Because, I do this full time. It's how I pay my rent. So I'm like, I have to produce a movie a month to survive. And so basically what I had to do was sort of kind of look at what the rules were, what the guidelines were, and adapt. Like, we could film outside, you could film with minimal cast, you could do the COVID testing. So that's just what we did. We wrote a lot of scripts that would take place with people having giant dinosaurs and murder hornets attacking them out in the open. And so we're able to basically sort of puzzle together a bunch of different films that became a series that all sequeled each other, where, it started out with a 5G, because we were always writing the headlines. That's what you do with exploitation. Like, at the time we were doing this, the 5G conspiracies were going on. So we're like, well, let's make a movie called 5G Zombies. So we did that, and it was almost all self-film segments. Everybody around the world that was involved filmed themselves with their cell phones as if they're in part of a zombie, apocalypse. And so we were able to use this short film as the sort of wraparound, and then I used all of the self-film segments to be the little pieces of it. So we made this whole film, and it ended up going viral. It got on like Drudge Report and got a bunch of attention. So that spawned this whole series where next we made a movie called Ebola Rex, which was about a Tyrannosaurus Rex that got Ebola and got loose on LA, because at the time they were talking about Ebola possibly coming back, and how scientists were experimenting with chicken embryos.
Oh my gosh.
So that inspired that. And then, of course, right after that was Murder Hornets were coming. So naturally, we had to do a movie about Murder Hornets. And then there was the crossover. We did Murder Hornets versus the Ebola Rex. And then we did Arachnado, which was another movie I had planned to do prior to the pandemic that got put on hold, that I readapted to be a pandemic movie. So it was Spiders in a Tornado. And then so that became part of the series. And then after that, like I said, was Ebola Rex versus Murder Hornets. And then we did an Arachnado 2. And that was sort of the cap off. And then amongst that, I did a couple TV movies. I did Rattlers 2 and The Beast Beneath. I did a whole bunch of films. Like I said, there's 16 of them we did last year.
You really kept busy, and that's amazing. I'm very proud of you, Dustin. That is amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
And also another thing too, with the Delta variant that's on the loose as well too. Any plans on doing movies that are related to the Delta variant?
I feel like we all had enough of the COVID. So I think that I'm trying to close that chapter, because I think I've noticed, when I see a commercial on TV and they're wearing masks, it's sort of upsetting to me, because I feel like it's going to remind us in the future when we see that stuff of this dark time. And I feel like the point of making these movies now is to entertain people and bring them some brightness in the darkness, give them something to escape to. So I feel like I did what I wanted to do with the pandemic series, but now I'm ready for us to move on to the other side.
I think that's a very smart idea, because I just about took off my mask talking to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear what I'm saying if I wore a mask. And I don't intend to do that. So, anyway, Dustin, where can we find Hell of the Screaming and Dead? And once again, where can we find all your films? And also, what's your website?
Okay, so Hell, the Screaming Undead is going to first have a limited release from me directly. You can just go to my Facebook, Dustin William Ferguson, look for the blue check, and I'm going to be selling the Blu-ray, as well as offering it on VOD for 30 days. And then I'm going to pull it, because it's going to then go to Wild Eye Releasing and get a wide release, where it should be available through every major platform. So be looking for that. The rest of my films, like I said, you can find on Amazon, Tubi, iTunes, Google. I do have a Kanaki web store. Again, look at my Facebook for that. I always post the store links. And let's see here. And yeah, that's about it. And I guess, Hell is Screaming Undead should be out in about 2 weeks.
And we're certainly looking forward to it as well. Once again, we're with producer and director Dustin Ferguson here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more minutes. You've been amazing, Dustin. And what else can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Dustin?
I'm really branching out into TV. I'm looking into broadcasting options right now. Every Saturday on my YouTube channel, which is SCS Entertainment, look for that. Every Saturday we do a broadcast. It's 2 hours. Typically, it's 3 shows that we produce mixed with a horror hosted movie of mine. So every Saturday we do that. It's at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So you can look for that. It's free entertainment that we offer. And then also I'm doing broadcasting about 20 different stations. We have a new series called The Last Roommate, The New Seductions. It's an erotic thriller series. So watch for that.
We certainly will do so. And we got an amazing collection, Dustin. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career?
Probably my all-time biggest influence is definitely John Carpenter. I think that the mood and atmosphere of his films, the camp value, everything about it, the subject matter is a big inspiration for me.
And that certainly is well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point? Anybody that's looking to do what I'm doing needs to just not make any excuses and go out and do it. You know, I came from a trailer in Kansas and I'm out in a condo in LA. You know, if I can do it, anybody can do it if they apply themselves. And that's certainly true as well. Once again, producer and director Dustin Ferguson here on the Mike Wagner Show. Dustin, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back in 2021 and beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your works? Okay. Like I said, I have a DVD store, so go to my official Facebook for that. I'm the only Dirty D, which is my rap alias on Instagram. You can find me on there as well. And then I guess the next upcoming project is we have the Bubba TV series, which we're on episode 2 of filming right now. And we also, the next film I'm going to be working on is a sequel to Apex Predators, Part 2 with flying sharks. Ooh, that sounds like fun, Dustin. Once again, Dustin Ferguson, director, producer here on the Mike Wagner Show. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back in 2021 and beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. You've been terrific, and we definitely wish you all the best. You've been great. Thank you.
Picture this photo books, where remembering is the key ingredient. Preserving memories, keeping the memories of your loved ones alive as they reach in and touch your heart. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whether it's a gift of past holidays, grandma's recipes, long ago moments, or just because. Those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809. Once again, that's 646-798-0809. Or visit picturethisphotobooks.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.